Everyone, it is very important for us to understand the growing importance or prominence of Indian Ocean region. Along with this, the role or you can say interplay of power dynamics is very much visible in the Indian Ocean region. Indian Ocean region is one region which is getting importance because of overemphasis, or you can say growing simultaneous importance of Indo-Pacific region, which means on one side we have the vast stretches of Pacific Ocean where American economy is central, right? As well as Central America is there, or you can say South American economies are there, right? On the other side we have Indian Ocean where Persian Gulf, countries around Persian Gulf which are largely dealing in oil trade. Along with this, Arabian Sea, where we have growing threats. Like you can understand, recently militant attacks on commercial vessels. From countries like Iran and dominance of Pakistan, right? Indo-Pacific does not only include Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean. To some extent, Atlantic Ocean is also included because Atlantic Ocean is connected to Mediterranean Sea. Atlantic Ocean has also found its way through Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, and all these regions that you see, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Mediterranean Sea, Arabian Sea, Persian Gulf, are all a part of this particular Indo Pacific region, and in reality, it is the Indian Ocean region. Now, if you look into Indian Ocean region, how many countries are around Indian Ocean? 29 states. And you can know this because there is this organization, Indian Ocean Rim Association. IORA is one such body which is where India plays a major role, right? So alternative of this has been created by China. Indian Ocean Region Forum. Since 2013, China has started its Belt and Road Initiative as well. And in this Belt and Road Initiative, there are land corridors, or you can say land routes, along with maritime corridors, which means sea routes, right? And maritime corridors are passing through important areas where countries like Indonesia, countries like Maldives, countries like Mauritius, Seychelles, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. These small countries around Indian Ocean are finding themselves at crossroads with countries, big countries like India and China. While China's image is already tarnished because of its positioning in South China Sea, India has largely been seen as a first responder in the region. Because during COVID, or you can say during any natural disaster like tsunami or toppling of ships or any disaster that happens during floods, type cyclones, or you can say in times of war, India has emerged as a first responder in the region. You talk about attempt of military takeover in Maldives, militant takeover. You talk about Sri Lanka, or you talk about, for that matter, Myanmar, or for that matter, you talk about anything that goes on in Seychelles. India, to an extent, is involved. But what is more to be seen is the bigger question is, does domestic politics, question is, does domestic politics has any role in the regional relationships? To understand this particular question deeper, try to understand what is the meaning of the word domestic politics here. It simply means that all countries, all countries in and around Indian Ocean are democracies. Some have two-party system, while many have multi-party systems. And whenever elections happen, elections in these countries, right, basically change of parties in power. The change of parties in power, change in international and domestic outlook with respect to people, right, with respect to economy, with respect to security, or for that matter, with respect to partnerships. Everywhere, the elections in these countries play a dominant role, which is also very evident recently because 6th Colombo Security Conclave was conducted. As you can understand, it was started in Colombo, that is Sri Lanka, in 2011. And based on this, there is this particular editorial that was published in the Hindu newspaper. Fact check that it was the sixth meeting and the purpose was safe, secure, and stable Indian Ocean region. Countries which are members are India, Mauritius, and Sri Lanka. The name itself suggests that it is a security conclave. This particular grouping is a very regional grouping, and the participants are national security advisor of all the member countries. So India, Mauritius, and Sri Lanka are the leading members, you can say, and observers it's Bangladesh and Seychelles. Maldives this particular year has not attended, and that raises the question whether domestic politics play a major role, because right now Mohammad Muizu is the president in Maldives and he is largely seen to have uh, deterrent, or you can say repulsive postures towards India's presence. Mr. Muizu does not appreciate India's growing presence of military personals and has asked Indian government to take them back. India maintains that the military presence was only for the purpose of training the military and navy of Maldives. No such interferences there with respect to any domestic matter. Though has India ceded to this particular demand of Muizu and has withdrawn or is in the process. So, Maldives not attending in this Colombo Security Conclave where important areas are discussed. Uh, like this particular security conclave has five important, areas where they largely focus. And the five pillars of this particular security conclave is maritime safety, security, countering terrorism in the region, and radicalization. What are the member countries which are suffering from this? Terrorism and radicalization in the Indian Ocean region. You will find it is there in Pakistan. Terrorism, radicalization, you will find that it is there in India. Similar such issue is also there in Sri Lanka, including Maldives, Bangladesh. These all problems are very common in these countries. Terror attacks and everything have happened in history, right? So, this is important. Cybersecurity and critical infrastructure, the growing presence of China, Chinese company, Chinese assets in Indian Ocean, trafficking and transnational crimes, which also includes drugs, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, because you will find these countries are in the tropical region, and Indian Ocean has its own dipole, which affects the climate. Large incidences of you will find large incidences of cyclones. These cyclones like Totai, Vyas, and Fani did not only affect India but these countries as well. China has maintained a very strong military partnership in the particular region. These countries are small and too dependent on China, so these countries cannot afford to have an anti China posture. So they are largely supporting China. China is growing its military presence by increasing the number of bases. It already has Hambantota and Djibouti. Recently, we have seen the coming of scientific ships in Sri Lanka to map Indian Ocean. Amidst this, what are the challenges, or you can say, what are the opportunities that India can carve out and work through the challenges? Since small island states have immediate needs, that they are unable to provide security to themselves. This is where India can posit to offer a defense collaboration by increasing the military and naval exercises, by increasing the presence of offshore bases. But Maldives is one country which reflects a failure, all the more because of the domestic uh, political support that Muizu got because of the India Out campaign. Abdullah Soli was supportive, while but Mohammad Muizu is not supportive of India. India has in history provided economic support to regional countries. Sri Lanka is the biggest example. India has also provided military averted military coups. Maldives is an example. Sri Lanka is also an example. Humanitarian assistance during COVID. Each country, including Bhutan, including Sri Lanka, Nepal, Pakistan, all these countries have been provided, and Bangladesh have been provided with vaccines under regional, international, or any such forum. So, India has, along with defense collaboration, we also maintain concern for humanity as a primary objective in the region. Amidst all of this, Maldives, the coming of Moizu is in power, has played a major role. Maldives has not attended this meeting. Since 2014, there is a strain in relationship between India and Maldives. But since 2020, India has started to push for its continued meeting, and a lot of initiatives they were able to largely pull off together. Because in 2022, what happened for the first time, the organization held a conference of oceanographers and hydrographers and another conference of coastal security. So, this means that the countries are showing positive intent towards collaboration. Towards collaboration. So, this has been a very good achievement for India. Uh, in I mean, so much so that India has asked Bangladesh, Seychelles, and Mauritius to become a full-time member. India demonstrates by this its evolving strategic vision for the Indo-Pacific, which is closely woven around the vision of Sagar, conceptualized in 2015, which stands for security and growth for all in the region. Security and growth for all in the region. Beijing's outreach in the Indian Ocean region since 2000 is to limit India's role, and that is why India needs to promote its participation so that sea lines of communication and trade do not corner India. But it is to be seen that this trilateral maritime security grouping is being affected by domestic politics, where domestic politics is being given more importance than regional collaboration. However, in the end, we must understand that Colombo Security Conclave is a very young institution, but has played a good role, though it is vulnerable to domestic political change in its member states. But this institution is tussling between China and India. But we need to understand that all these countries are democracies where these countries will continue to play and are playing for their own benefit using these cards for domestic and external benefits as Indo-Pacific region is growing in prominence. But authors, has hope with respect to Colombo Security Conclave because he states that it will continue to remain an important instrument to help it consolidate its regional leadership. Now you can pause this particular screen, take a screenshot of this editorial. Zoom in from the screenshot, try to read it within 6 to 8 minutes. Whatever so far we have discussed, you will find it largely to be there, along with important highlights that are already there. This was Harshvardhan Tripathi. I'll see you guys again in another interesting analysis of the Hindu editorials.